Hello everyone and welcome back to the Sweeptrack Backstage channel. Today we are going to explore how Eurodance and Italo disco became popular in Japan during the 90s, and how they became even more well known thanks to the anime Initial D. Eurobeat is a music genre derived from Eurodisco. Like most styles of electronic music, it mainly uses electronic instruments such as synthesizers and drum machines. The origins of Eurobeat are tied to the rise of Eurodisco in the 1970s, when the Italian producer Giorgio Moroder was one of the pioneers in creating a sound where synthesizers became the central instrument in arrangements. Songs performed by artists like Donna Summer and the German group Silver Convention became big hits in Europe, the United States, and Japan. These tracks, created mainly with analog synthesizers, were fundamental to what would later be known as high energy. A major technological milestone for the popularization of electronic music was the launch of the Yamaha DX7 synthesizer, which was far more affordable than other synthesizers at the time. Another important breakthrough was the standardization of MIDI, which enabled greater control and integration between keyboards and computers. In this context, songs with beats around 110 BPM spread rapidly across Europe under the High Energy label. In 1985, the term Eurobeat appeared for the first time in a British magazine, when Record Mirror renamed its High Energy chart to Eurobeat chart. Eurobeat developed in parallel with Italo disco mainly in Italy and Germany. The style dominated the European charts, especially in the UK, but never reached the same level of popularity in the United States, even though MTV America aired programs dedicated to European music between 1987 and 1989. At the beginning of the 1990s, Eurobeat started to lose ground to other styles, such as hardcore techno and house music, while in the US, genres like R&B and New Jack Swing became the audience's favorites. However, in Japan, Eurobeat became extremely popular, to the point that European producers were creating music almost exclusively for the Japanese market. By the mid-80s, Eurobeat was beginning to gain popularity in Japan. One important milestone was the release of the compilation CD series That's Eurobeat, launched by Alpha Records between 1986 and 1999, which helped establish the genre in the country. These songs were played in large nightclub chains such as Marja and King and Queen, which were hugely popular at the end of the decade. Another key factor was the collaboration with the group TM Network, led by Tetsuya Komuro, one of the biggest names in Japanese pop in the late 80s, and the partnership with the British label PWL, one of the most influential labels for Eurobeat productions at the time. In the 1990s, the newly founded Avex, which had started as a distributor of foreign CDs in Japan, began operating as a record label in 1990 and played an active role during the peak of Eurobeat throughout the decade. Avex released several compilation series such as Super Eurobeat starting in 1990, Eurobeat Flash from 95 to 99, and Euromatch from 1999 to 2002. One of the defining features of 90s Eurobeat was its even faster tempo, averaging around 140 BPMs. A key factor behind its success was that Avex directly hired producers from Italian labels to create tracks tailored to Japanese tastes. Thanks to the popularity of these compilations, producers like Dave Rogers, at Avex's request, began producing songs for Japanese artists as well, including the boy band V6, the girl group Max, and arguably the biggest star of the time, Namiya Muro. In the early 2000s, Eurobeat began to lose popularity in Japan, but found new fans in the West thanks to the internet and its prominent presence in rhythm games like Beatmania, Eurobeat, and Taiko no Tatsujin. However, perhaps the biggest driver of the genre's worldwide cult status was the anime adaptation of Shuichi Shigeno's manga Initial D, which began serialization in Weekly Young magazine in July 1995. For those unfamiliar, Initial D tells the story of Takumi Fujiwara, a high school senior who works at a gas station alongside of his best friend Itsuki, a true car enthusiast, obsessed with street racing and determined to join his favorite team, the Akina Speed Stars. The group's leader, Koichiro Iketani, also works with them at the gas station. What no one knows is that Takumi secretly helps his father by delivering tofu at night for the family shop. Thanks to these daily deliveries, On the winding mountain roads, Takumi unknowingly developed exceptional driving skills. Initially, the story focused on the underground street racing scene in the mountains of Gunma Prefecture, highlighting the drift technique, which years later became globally famous with the movie The Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. The decision to use Eurobeat likely stemmed from Avex tracks' dual role in producing both the anime and its soundtrack. This synergy made it cost-effective and strategically promoted their Eurobeat catalog. Dave Rogers, one of the genre's leading figures, mentioned in interviews that tracks like Deja Vu were specifically selected for Initial D, boosting the genre's popularity even further. While there are few direct interviews with director Shin Mizawa about the soundtrack choices, statements from executive producer Ren Usami suggest there was a deliberate effort to match the audio with the visual intensity of the racing scenes. Initial D played a key role in boosting Eurobeat popularity in Japan and beyond. Soundtracks like Super Eurobeat Presents Initial D Selection sold over 100,000 copies in Japan. Super Eurobeat Volume 100, released around the time of Initial D's second stage, sold an impressive 713,000 copies, peaking at number 2 on the Oricon charts, a huge leap compared to earlier volumes like Volume 50, which sold just 80,000 units in 1994. This sharp rise reflects the anime's impact on the genre's commercial success. Internationally, Initial D introduced Eurobeat to a new generation of anime and racing game fans. The animation series, along with Sega's Initial D arcade stage games, feature an extensive Eurobeat playlist that captivated players and viewers alike. This viral presence kept Eurobeat relevant in the West long after its initial boom in Japan. Today, the genres maintain a loyal global following. For example, the Spotify playlist Eurobeat from Initial D has over 75,000 saves, showing that the blend of anime, gaming, and high-energy music continues to fuel Eurobeat's enduring niche appeal. If you liked the video, please click the thumbs up, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for new content every week. Thank you for watching.